So I was planning today to announce that I'd be reviewing a movie every week, either a new picture or one I've just never seen before. And I had one all lined up for this week, a comedy that I haven't seen and really wanted to discuss. Um, but then David Bowie died, and I feel like I should change it up. David Bowie is one of my all-time favorite musicians, probably my favorite musician of all time, and I swear I'm not just saying that because he died. He's a man who has defined cool for over 40 years. He's always on the bleeding edge. He's a not just a trendsetter. He is the bleeding edge. He has shaped pop culture more in the past half century than like anyone else really. Um, he's one of the greats. He's a pro. He's class act till the end, really. Um, like a rock god, truly, and just musical genius. I think undeniably. Um, I actually cried when I first heard the news. I was up at 2 a.m. When it broke, and uh, I felt like the air was knocked out of me, and I still it's been almost a full day, and I'm still like, no, he can't die. David Bowie can't die. I'm still I still haven't immediately like fully come to terms with it. Um, so I thought I would do something in memorial, I guess. So, besides being just a musician, David Bowie was a noted actor, probably most famous for his role as Gareth in Jim Henson's Labyrinth. But he also had parts in The Prestige by Christopher Nolan, Basquiat, The Last Temptation of Christ by Scorsese, and many more. And like this was just a hobby, and he was working with people like Nolan and Scorsese. Um, but his first ever starring role was in a science fiction film called The Man Who Fell to Earth. And I hadn't seen this, so here's my review. The Man Who Fell to Earth is trippy and hypnotic, it's meditative and emotional, it's weird science fiction, and it's exactly the sort of movie that you would expect Ziggy Stardust, or the same guy who turned 1984 into Diamond Dogs, to make his starring debut in. The film concerns Tommy Newton, an alien played by David Bowie, who shows up on Earth with a mission to get back home. To do so, he starts a technology company that eventually branches into space travel, and along the way falls into some of humanity's many vices: lust, gluttony, addiction, and apathy or nihilism. David Bowie really is the highlight of this film. He's just perfect casting. Tall, gangly, pale, bright red hair, softly handsome face. It really doesn't matter the mood he's playing, whether he's awkward or dispassionate or manic or fragile. He just effortlessly stands out. He's just so believably alien that no matter what he does, he completely sells his outsiderness. In spite of that, from the first time we see him awkwardly stumble down a hill in the first scene, he's just magnetic. Saying he demands attention isn't accurate because it would imply that he's trying to get it. You're just drawn to him and you want to watch him so closely for the things that, make him a misfit. Besides Bowie, though, the movie is, well, it's ambitious to put it gently. It's over 2 hours long and has substantial plotting and pacing problems and lots of non sequiturs that begin to imply things that are never really fleshed out and have no reason to really be in the film, which is a common enough problem in films like these, where emotional conceits are way more prominent and important than narrative ones, but it's a problem all the same. And Bowie might honestly be just too magnetic, as the scenes that he isn't in feel all the dimmer for his absence. It's long and plotting and sloppy, but at times it's also surprisingly poignant, especially when it gives us the opportunity to see ourselves as Newton sees us, or when we recognize Newton falling into the same pitfalls that many of us are so prone to. You might have to force yourself to watch entirely through The Man Who Fell to Earth, but you'll almost certainly be rewarded for your effort. If you have one, now is, I think, the perfect time to listen to your favorite Bowie album or song, or whatever helps you say so long to the legend in your own way. If you've never really been introduced to Bowie before, never listened to anything by him, I would recommend starting with his Reality Live Tour album because it's a pretty good tour of most of his hits. Or if you want a complete album story experience, I recommend The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. In my opinion, one of the best albums ever made, ever. Um, Also, kind of tangent, I'd also recommend, if you're looking for a book, reading Stranger from a Strange Land, which is one of my favorite books, and it just always reminded me of David Bowie and Ziggy Stardust, and even this movie a bit. It's just very all the same themes of aliens coming to Earth and having to adapt to Earth culture and all that, and getting caught up in kind of the psychedelic 70s and 60s. Um, Thank you for watching, and so long, Starman.